This is Brief Briefing. IMF says only 40 countries allowed to issue digital currencies. While many nations moving to develop digital currencies, the Internal Monetary Fund reports that only a number of countries are legally allowed to do so. In the blog, the IMF reports that according to various surveys, an increasing number of central banks are exploring the possibility of having a central bank currency, aka Cbdc. However, a majority of the IMF's members nations have legal structures that do not have clear policies regarding the establishment of digital currencies, or do not allow the development of them at all. The IMF estimates that 80% of the world's central banks are either not allowed to issue a digital currency under their existing laws, or the legal framework is not clear. In total, IMF asserts that only 40 of its members are clear to issue a digital currency. The IMF has also highlights that if a nation issues a digital currency, every person in that jurisdiction must be able to easily access that payment system, which may pose certain challenges to financial infrastructures. Legal tender status is usually only given to means of payment that can be easily received and used by the majority of the population. To use digital currencies, digital infrastructure, laptops, smartphones, connectivity must first be in place. The governments cannot impose on their citizens to have it, so granting legal tender status to a central bank digital instrument might be challenging. If a means of payment cannot reach legal tender status, it becomes unlikely that it will be able to reach currency status. Back in November, the IMF issued a report indicating that it oversaw the necessity for careful analysis and discussion in policy preparation circles and within competent political bodies. If states wish to move forward with CBDCs this year, the IMF also published a report stating that despite legal complexities, it anticipates that CBDCs could change the global financial landscape. Although that paper finds that the US dollar domestic dominance is likely to ensure analysis at the IMF, say new technologies could have a major impact on the structure and movement of reserve currencies at large. Historical precedents of sudden changes suggest that new development, such as emergence of digital currencies and new payment ecosystems, could accelerate the transition to a new landscape of reserve currencies. Several countries, including China, Sweden, Saudi Arabia, UAE, announced they were piloting digital currencies this year. Bitcoin swings undermine CFO's case for converting cash to crypto, brought to you by Bloomberg. Wall Street finance executives who were thinking of plunging some of their company's cash reserves into Bitcoin got a heat check this week. Chief financial officers, not generally known as risk-loving bunch, watch Bitcoin sink more than 25% 24-hour period starting Sunday. Burning a hole of that size in a corporate rainy day fund would amount to a career-ending wipeout at virtually any S&P 500 firm. Yet, the cryptocurrency's 300% rally last year was hard to ignore, and a few companies dived in. MicroStrategy Inc. invested $425 million of its $500 million cash into Bitcoin. In October, Square Inc. headed by longtime crypto advocate Jack Dorsey, announced that it converted about 50 million of its total assets as of a second quarter of 2020 into the token. Every single person in crypto industry is underestimating Bitcoin, says Anthony Pompliano. Morgan Creek Digital founder Anthony Pompliano thinks that the entire cryptoverse is underestimating Bitcoin's potential to completely overhaul the global financial market. On an episode of Real Vision with Raul Paul, Pompliano reveals what he truly believes about Bitcoin. The CEO compares the potential future mass adoption of Bitcoin to the natural digitization process of all assets and products. Nothing that the digital version of everything has always come out on top. I think Bitcoin is going to be the next global reserve currency, and I think that every single person that's listening to this, every single person in the industry is completely underestimating this thing. I believe that Bitcoin is not only the hardest, soundest money we've ever seen in the world, but I think it's absolute apex predator in financial markets. The reason why I think that it is because there is one key trend that most people in finance don't understand, and it is the superiority of digital assets or digital products over analog products and assets. So the technology industry is better suited to understand this component, which is, if you look at store of value and medium of exchange asset, historically, those have been analogs, and then they basically become these electronic CUSIPs assets, which was just a slight improvement on the analog version. The digital product is not only superior to the analog or electronic product, but it is also never smaller than the analog equivalent. Pomp says that the internet is moving human society into a more proof-based information climate, which is destroying the narrative that gold is scarce and instead proving Bitcoin is a true scarce store of value asset. Exclusive large Bitcoin payments to right-wing activists a month before Capitol riot linked to foreign accounts. That is some interesting, scary stuff. Washington, on December 8th, someone made a simultaneous transfer of 28.15 Bitcoin worth more than $500,000 at the time to 22 different virtual wallets, most of them belonging to prominent right-wing organizations. Now, cryptocurrency researchers believe they have identified who made the transfer and suspect it was intended to bolster those far-right causes. U.S. law enforcement is investigating whether the donations were linked to the January 6th assault on the U.S. Capitol. While the motivation is difficult to prove, the transfer came just moments before the violent riot in the freaking Capitol. Come on, guys. Which took place after the president, Trump, invited supporters to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue and take back our country. Not good. Cream Finance leaps into DeFi corporate debt with Iron Bank launch. The Cream Finance project, a leading protocol that recently merged into the Yearn ecosystem, announced the upcoming launch of its Iron Bank feature, a name inspired by the once popular TV show Game of Thrones. Cream's Iron Bank is an attempt to create a decentralized finance equivalent of corporate debt. The announcement released on Thursday explains how the market for peer-to-peer lending in traditional finance, worth $70 billion, pales in comparison with the world of corporate credit, with $10 trillion in loans outstanding. To create a similar industry in DeFi, Cream is now allowing other protocols to borrow funds without posting collateral. For risk management purposes, the system is not permissionless. Each protocol needs to be whitelisted by Cream for a line of credit. The protocol is then able to borrow freely until it reaches the credit limits set by Cream. Currently, the assets available for borrowing are Ether, DAI, Y3 Curve, an interest-bearing token representing your vault. For Curve Finance, DAI USDT USDC pool. In the future, Cream expects to add other stablecoins such as Tether, USDC Coin, SUSD, AMP Stable, and DeFi Dollar, as well as Chainlink, Yearn, Synthetics, and Wrap Bitcoin. Current protocols supported by Cream are Yearn Finance, Alpha Hamora. For now, no new applications are accepted. For the Yearn ecosystem, the Iron Bank can be particularly useful for increasing the effectiveness of yield farming strategies by leveraging assets without posting collateral. Yearn vaults can effectively multiply the yield by obtaining from farming Sushi, Curve, and Alpha. At the same time, people supplying assets on Cream benefit from the higher interest rate payout. Under collateralized loans in DeFi have long been considered as next great step in DeFi evolution. Current lending platforms almost always require users to post more collateral than the sum they are borrowing. This is primarily a limitation imposed by smart contracts, as the protocol cannot use legal means to recover bad debt. Over-collateralized loans are mostly just useful for adding leverage or selling crypto asset shorts. Some proposed solutions for under-collateralized loans include credit scores. Both traditional and on-chain projects working on this include Teller and Zero Collateral DeFi. That would be great because I have an excellent DeFi credit score. Will Bitcoin or Ethereum grow more by 2022? Every week, Bazinga conducts a survey to collect sentiment on what traders are most excited about, interested in, or thinking about as they manage their personal portfolios. This week, we posted the following question to Bazinga investors. Over the next year, will Bitcoin or Ethereum have the largest percent gains? Bazinga users spoke, and a majority believe Bitcoin will grow, and mostly by the end of 2021. Here we can see they think it's a 50% probability versus a 43% for Ethereum. Though they're not familiar with smart contracts, what do you think? Which one do you think will be worth more by 2022? Comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Comp outruns top DeFi tokens as total volume lock closes above $2 billion. Compound Finance native token Comp was among the biggest gainers in decentralized finance space Wednesday. And why would that be? Why would their total TVL go up? A break from Ethereum, Compound currently uses as its principal blockchain. Therefore, its lending protocol cannot offer support to non-Ethereum assets. Compound Chain strives to fill the shortcomings, thereby enabling its protocol to facilitate direct liquidity across peer chains. They include ETH 2.0, Polkadot, Solana, Quorum, Clio, and many others. Compound Lab tweeted, "Today, we're excited to share the white paper for Compound Chain, a distributed ledger capable of transferring value and liquidity between peer ledgers." Tell me what you think about Compound launching its own blockchain to help bring more liquidity onto Ethereum. Will Ethereum gobble up all value of all cryptocurrencies? Comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.